Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chuck Terry, Crescent, Valiani. Today, we're going to talk about just some basic operations of the Valiani Create software. So I have my vStudio software opened up. I'm going to click one time on Create to open up the program. It's going to launch the program. And when it launches the program, it's always going to come over here to the default mat size. That value is always going to be highlighted so that you can then go ahead and just quickly type in a value and adjust the size of the frame. So for example, if I want to go 14 tab, 11 tab, now I'll have a frame size that's 14 by 11. If I tab to the next section over, it'll go to standard sizes. Honestly, I don't really use standard sizes because it's so easy to type in the value that I want. But if you want to click on the drop down arrow, you can see the standard default tab or standard default settings for your default outside dimensions. Again, I don't use that, so I'm going to tab to the next one. What this is going to do is it's going to tab to the borders. Now it's going to tab to the top border first, and if I make an adjustment to the border, then what it's basically going to do is adjust the position of these dashed lines that you see on the screen. Now, that's really important because the way the Valiani software works is it will initially insert the object, the clip art, the openings, or the text to that size. So I want to make sure that I know what that means. So let me give you an example here. So I've got a 14 by 11 mat. I've got 1.5-inch borders, and with the 1.5-inch borders, I have 1.5 from this edge to this edge to this edge, here to here, and then up here from here to there is 1.5. Okay, so when I insert my opening, it's going to come in and it's going to give me an opening dimension based off of my 14 by 11 and my borders, and my opening dimension is going to come in at 11 inches wide, 8 inches high. Again, now that's only relevant to the first opening. If I insert another opening, it's going to come in at a default size. My computer happens to be set up to default to another opening size of 7 by 10. I'm going to delete that opening out. Okay, now I'm going to go back to this original one here. So 14 by 11, 1.5-inch borders all the way around. That also means that the position is going to equal out the same as my borders. Now, from this point, if I want to make the opening slightly smaller so my image doesn't, or my print or image or picture doesn't fall through, I'm going to make this 10.75 by 7.75, and it's going to reduce the overall size of the image. Now, the opening size is now 10 3/4 by 7 3/4. If I come down here and I look at my borders are still the same. So if I come over here, I can see that I am now inside of where my borders are at. So what does that mean? That means I can now ignore the borders. I don't need to look at those. They become irrelevant. What becomes relevant now is the positioning of the object. Okay, we want to make sure that we've got it either centered horizontally, vertically, or positioned exactly where we want it to be placed. So again, I can add my frame size, I can put in my borders, and then the borders are going to equal whatever I have over borders I'm going to have in position, and then it's going to give me my out or my inside dimension. If I adjust my inside dimension, then again, I'm still ignoring the borders. I can look over here at my positioning. If I click and move, click and drag, click and drop, uh, borders aren't going to be relevant in this case. And then if I look over here, I can see the position of the object. Now, if I turn on the snap tool is going to allow me to snap to the borders. So if I want to use the borders in some instances, maybe I want to make it 1¼ inches and I want to drag this object up and over, it's going to snap to my border. So at that time, we're bringing the borders back in and they are going to be relevant. Another example, let's go 3 by 2. Okay, so if I move my object around, you can see that it's snapping to wherever my borders are at. It's also snapping to the center of the mat, center vertically, center center horizontally, center vertically. Okay, so if I take that and I go copy paste, and I want to position this one over here, position this one down here, without having to type in the values, it's going to automatically put it right where my borders are at. Okay, same with the top. 1¼ inches on the left, 1¼ inches on the top.